Hey everyone, I am back here with Kenneth Snyder. You might recognize Kenneth from an episode that we did, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I don't even know how long it's been, but we were up in New York City at the Exchange together. And I'm really, really excited to talk to you, Kenneth, about this new project that you have. So I feel like we teased it a little bit on our last recording together, and now it is all coming alive. So you are or have officially unleashed KWS Fragrance. And we are all obsessed with it. So I want to start by talking to you about what this project is, what this means to you, how it all got started. So thank you so much for being here today.
I'm so
And
excited that we made this happen. Thank you.
I know, like back together.
Rise
Everybody.
from sea to sky.
And into the evening. Kindness with Soul, a freestyle fragrance by Kenneth. Order at kwsfragrance.com.
I want to start by asking you how you got interested in this fragrance space, and how this all got started.
So it was a crazy story. I went to visit my friend in Paris, and she was studying over there, and she had no money at the time. And she goes, I really want to do something for your special for your birthday while you're here. And this was probably like 15, 16 years ago. And so what happened is she goes, do you have this amount of money to spend? And I'll set it up. I was like, perfect. So I was in Paris and we went to this place, and for a certain amount of euros, I got to sit and make my own fragrance. So I literally sat there for 5 hours and learned all about fragrance and did the bottom notes, the middle notes, the top notes. And it was just the most special experience. So I got to pick from the bottom notes, the top notes. I did everything. And the woman then, we just kept eliminating, and we got to a fragrance. And I left with one small bottle of that fragrance, probably 14 years ago. And what happened is that I was wearing it at home. I was getting compliments. And I went to try to reorder it, and my French is terrible. So I went to try order it email, and it just didn't really work out. So one day I was sitting at the salon, and it was at my first appointment in the morning. I had it on, and I had just sprayed it. I was almost running out. Turns out that the guy sitting in my chair goes, what are you wearing? I was like, oh, I created this thing in France, blah, 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 blah. And he turns around and he goes, how much do you have left of it? I said, about this much in the bottle. He goes, don't use any more. I'll meet you here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So what the guy did is he owns a raw fragrance company where they actually make fragrance for other people. So what he did is he took the little bit that I had left, took it to the lab, and broke it down to tell me what was in it and recreated it.
And so was that one of the products that you have now? I mean, was that the start of one, or was that just like your...
That's everybody.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how it all started. Yes.
Yeah. So with that one, how did you go back to Paris? Did you go back to the original place, or what happened after that to create the line?
So then after that got started, we ran a small run of it. We sold out of it. I really didn't do anything with it. I had some personal challenges in 2012, which I think you and I might have spoke about before. So I had some personal health issues. So that went to sleep for a while. And then I opened up some more salons. Life happened. And I just let it all go. And then I was like playing with fragrances of other brands under vendors, and I started to layer and play with things. And so I asked them if they could tweak these fragrances that were like, I thought worked really well. So I went back to their lab and I said, I need this done with this. Can you take this out? Can you do this? That works. And then I blended it. Then I was like, okay, I need something this. So I kept on finding these things, and I created it in their labs. And what was crazy about the whole thing is that not one of them fought each other. there was 10 chemists that never saw, like, this never happened. They didn't know how it worked. And they just layered and they kept on working. And like, they couldn't find a way not to make these 4 work. So I wanted something really sexy and at night. I wanted something like just for the afternoon, something in the morning. But what I really wanted was I wanted somebody to be able to experience that luxury fragrance of being able to custom it yourself. Right?
Yeah. So where did that idea come from? I mean, how did you say like, oh, it'd be really cool? I mean, were you always just having, like, did you always have like a ton of fragrances around? Like, how did you even come up with the idea to have something that builds?
So what happened is that I wore something and then I started trying other stuff while I had it on. And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. And so I layered it. It worked. I was like, well, how's that possible? Because they always tell you, like, you can't mix things, you can't do this. It has to be pure. I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. So I just started playing and layering and doing all this. And I'm like, oh my God, I can make. So out of the 4 fragrances, like, I don't even know how many you can make. Right?
Yeah.
You can do like, there's multiple endless combinations. And on everybody's skin and everybody's natural, it's just so cool that they can have, like, if you're Bobbi and you want to create your own fragrance that morning, you create it. And that's really what I wanted to do for everyone, is that I believe the world should be shared. So, and we finally got to a place on earth where it's all about experience, right? So now KWS, Kindness with Soul, is ready for you to create your own experience at home. So that, not everybody can go to Paris. Not everybody can go sit and create their own fragrances. Not everybody has that ability. So if this just brings a little bit of creativity into someone's life and a little bit of joy, this is pretty special. And then you can build on this with other people. And even if when you're getting them for gifts, like, I could buy you 1, then I can add it, or I can get you all 4. So I kind of love it.
Yeah, I really like that it's unisex too. I want to go back to something that you said really quickly. So KWS stands for Kindness with Soul. Talk to me about that and why that's so important to you.
So go ahead one more time, the KWS.
Yeah, so you had mentioned that KWS stands for Kindness with Soul. Tell me a little bit about that and why you chose that.
Well, so crazy, it's my initials for my name. Is Kenneth Walter Snyder, or Kenneth W. Snyder. And it just came out. I was like, Kindness with Soul. And so I believe we can be kind, but when you do it from a soulful place, it's real. And when you're just kind for no reason, it's kind of fake. So it's just about the realness of living from the soul's point of view. It's a little deep, but I kind of love it. So when it was like Kindness with Soul, and it just happened to be there and it just popped out. So when it just was, I was like, oh my God, my initials stand for Kindness with Soul. Then I was like, oh wow, the fragrance is KWS. So I think we all, like, right now on the planet, and that's all anybody needs is a little kindness with soul. So if we can make anybody's day just a little bit brighter, a little bit more fun, a little bit more creative, I think that's really what this line is all about, and lifestyle. So we talk about lifestyle brand. And I mean, the reason why you and I are sitting here right now is that we wanted to make it something that is accessible to everyone. Right. So that's why we're not in a big brand store that we had offers to go to. That's why we're not. This is more of like a kindness with soul project. And so I think that's what's really important is I'd like to make it. I guess people use the term like grassroots or however you say it, but I really wanted to be able to get it into everybody's hands and make it the best way I can say is that accessible, that everyone could have and everybody could have an experience. So it's so important to me because some days fragrance just lifts up your day, or changes the way your mood is, or you're just not feeling great and you spray a little on and like your evening gets better, or you're not awake that morning. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the four scents that you've created, and what the idea is behind when you layer them. Obviously, anybody can do any mix and match that they want, and I think that's what you want everybody to do, right? You want them to be able to play around and like kind of find their scents. Mine
Yes.
is everybody mixed with sea to sky. That's
Okay.
my favorite blend.
Okay.
That's what I like to put on my son, who is 10. See, this is what I think is so awesome about this is my son, who's 10, wears everybody every day to school. He's the
Right.
only fourth grader, like smelling so good.
I
We're
love
starting him
that.
early, but it
That's
really
so
is one
cool.
of those things where I think we had talked about this when you first were telling us about the idea is that we can have four on our bathroom counter, and I can use it. My husband can use it. My son grabs it. It truly is for the entire family. We all can mix and match and not all smell the exact same because we have different scents on, right? We all kind of find our own thing that we like. But the idea that you had when you first told us about this, and I think if there's any structure to it. The idea is to go from morning to night. So tell
Yes.
me about the four scents and how they layer throughout
Okay, so what we found out is rise, and that's what we do. So almost like when you wake up, right? So rise is really great because it's like citrusy and fresh. So it's like something you would wear to like a morning brunch or something you start your
the
day off with work. And everybody is just a great base that you can wear anytime, any day. You can wear it alone, you can wear it with all of them. You can do any of that. And then sea to sky is like the earthy one. So that's why I called it sea to sky, because it's literally from sea to sky. And I thought about the horizon. And in the middle of the afternoon, it's very grounding. So when you put it on, there's something that happens to sea to sky when you layer it with everybody that just grounds you. Like it takes all the stress of the day away and just grounds you. And I think that's why it's so popular. Is that when you layer it on top of whatever you're wearing, it all of a sudden you're like you almost start your day over. It's kind of
day.
cool. And then
Hmm.
into the evening is exactly what it says. Whether you want to feel that way from the early morning, or you're going to like a wedding, or you're going to a romantic dinner, or you just are dressing up special, or when you wear those perfect jeans and you think you look good, like that you just put on.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like that. Like it's that just a little bit of extra to make you feel good
Yes.
about yourself. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. You did such a good creating all of these, and it's so hard to explain scent um just verbally. Like it's really hard to describe it, but I will just say like the way that you created all these things that like are so different individually. Like, and I think that's what you were saying is like the chemist couldn't believe it because I think that individually they're so different, but it all goes together and mixes so well. So I think that that's like the best part of it. For me, I think it's really awesome that you even had this idea. There's nothing out there like it. Nothing else that's doing this. So I think it's really awesome and like just so smart that you came up with this.
Well, I think a lot of it was intuition, right? So I really believe in intuition. It was like following your gut and or just letting it talk through you. So I think that was part of it. Was it was so natural. Like I was just like, oh, take this out of it, and then let me try this, and then I did it, and it worked. And I just
Yeah.
I kept on not letting anybody dictate, and it
Hmm.
was crazy how it was happening. And I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
works. Oh, this works. And if I would have followed any rules on Earth, it would not have worked
Wait, I
because
love that.
because it doesn't make sense. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to work.
Hmm.
But it really does. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I had to and I think that's where the soulfulness comes in. I just had to let it all
Hmm.
go. Any rules that
Hmm.
you follow on Earth, this does not follow.
Hmm. I love that. And it's so
Yeah.
awesome. And it all works so well. And again, it's just trusting your intuition on that, like knowing like, okay, there's something here and going with that has turned into this amazing product. I love the design of the bottle. So talk to me a little bit about how you went through that process of designing then not only the fragrance, but then putting a bottle to it, putting a label on it. What was that like for you?
So I think in the first round, when we just released the one and they were just in stock bottles and it was a good investment to do that, I just took whatever they had. And then when I
Hmm.
decided when there was four, or when four happened over, 7 years of figuring this out, I was like, I want something very clean. I want something very like You'll even notice in the bottles, there's a gold, there's silver. So I wanted it to look good when all four were together as a collection and very simple, like on your counter or on wherever you're going to display this. I wanted it to be able to be out because it's something you have to use. It's not like something you can tuck away. So I just wanted it to be match anybody's decor, right? So if you're modern, it's good. If you're classic, you're good. Traditional, it's good. If you're futuristic, like whatever you have in your house, it should work for everyone or everybody, right? So that was the whole design by it. And I love the shape of it because it looked more apothecary, if that's the right word. Yeah, it has a little bit of that feel to it. So it was like in between all the brands I loved, I just took like my favorite stuff from all the brands. You know, like one of the labels, the color was from a label that I loved. One of the bottles was like a shape from something I saw. And then I love the gold and silver. And then the font or the print or whatever you want to call it, I wanted it to be very clean and crisp. So I think that's how we really got to the shape of the bottle and the amount that's in the bottle, right? Because that was really important. I wanted it to be able to travel with you if you wanted it. So that's where it all, I wanted it to be mobile also. So that's
how long do you think that took you, that creative process of like start to finish? I mean, was this like a labor of love? Was this like, I mean, how was this process of getting this going?
It was kind of crazy.
Was it?
Yeah, because I think it's something that's like being born, right? So I started out, I did the first one, we sold it. Life got busy. And because it's not my first source of income, it had to take a back seat. And then everybody's health got in the way, my parents, my own, we had to fix all that. And then that wonderful, 2020 hit, and that really refocused me off of it. And so I've been working on it for like 10 years. I would say the last 7 years I've been working on the other 3, not believing it could work. And all of a sudden I started trying and people were like, no, keep going for it. Even yourself, when we met in New York, or people, they're like, oh, wow, this sounds cool. Oh, it's encouraging. So a lot of encouragement along the way, a lot of support, and a lot of people that wanted to do it. And then I had to put up the money to make this, the first round of this. So
is this your first like product? Is this the first time you've had like a product? I mean, at something like this, I mean, you're learning just as you're going, which I love. And that's what I love about you too, is like, you're not afraid of it. And even though you're like, okay, yeah, this happened, this happened, this happened. The reason that we're talking about this today, after this idea, started so long ago, is that you do believe in it. And it is something that came from you. So like, do you feel like there's a certain reason that timing has happened on this? Like, do you feel like now maybe is the time for you to have or give time to this? I've said time like 500 times in that sentence. But do you think that this is the right time? I'm really finding like recently, like really believing in like everything happening at the time that it's meant to happen at. And does this feel like the right time to like launch this like full speed ahead?
Yeah, it's the first time in life. I think I'm the happiest I've ever been on earth in my life. And I think the traumatic experience of having my dad pass away in last February, I think it's almost like, my dad was always encouraging and always like supported, like, his gay salon hairdresser son was so proud of me. So now that he's left Earth, I really believe like there is no time to wait for anything. Like if you believe it can happen, give it a shot. I'd rather fail 100 times and then let one succeed. However it is, I don't believe in failure anymore. Just try it. Like, why not? Like, I'm going to see if this works. And I'm letting it roll out naturally. So I'm letting it develop naturally, right? Because the universe, I've learned that the universe really doesn't understand time on Earth. It'll just meet you where you are. I think that's what you were kind of saying. Like, it's meeting me now where I am. So I am in a very different place than I've ever been in my life. So it feels like the right time for it to emerge. So I am getting excited about it. And even to think that I can have a fragrance, like, who am I? Right? It's funny. Like, I think it's funny, but I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
I
And
don't know. I feel like when you told me about it, I was like, no, this is perfect for you. Like, I love it. Like, I think it's so perfect for you. And like, again, like, no one else is doing it's not like you are like came up with this thing. You're like, oh yeah, this is, the scent of this lawn, or this is the whatever, like this is a whole like movement. It's a whole different, a different way of thinking about things, a different way that we use fragrance. And I just think that it's something different, which is really cool. I do want to ask you,
sure.
kind of goal for this. What do you hope comes from this? Because again, you said this isn't your main thing. And if you want to know Kenneth's main everyday job, you can listen to our episode together. But to get in that full story, but this isn't what you're going to turn all of your attention to. So, what is your desire for this? What do you hope it becomes?
Well, I think there's a twofold answer to that. Is that I think what's happening to me is in this stage of my life, I don't know if it'll have all my attention, but creating a lifestyle brand. My first life is to train as many people as I could do to earn a living. And now is creating the experience for people that they can have luxury experiences in their life without the cost. Right. So I think what I would love to do is create a lifestyle brand that people can get luxury wherever they are. And what I mean by that is that sometimes it's hard for people to be tangible to get to things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not
Mm-hmm.
everybody might be able to get to Paris, but everybody should be able to get to our fragrances. Like, it should be pretty much accessible. So if I could do that, that's really like, this is the first product, but I would love to continue to grow that space and people just to have fun with it and experience it. And I don't know, like, maybe it'd be great to like add another one someday if I could figure out another one that might work. Right. So collect them, change them, whatever that looks like. I would love people just to get to experience this right now and make a little bit of a difference in the world. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it's true. The more positive experiences we can have, this might be just fun. Even if, like you had talked before, if you and your son are having an exchange about it and it's cool and he feels more confident going to school at 10 years old, what more do you want? I mean,
Yeah.
I think you answered it for me. It's like, we can go in somewhere a little confident, a little bit, feel a little better about ourselves. So I think that's it. Just to, drop a little good energy into the world. I believe the only way that we can make the world better is making ourselves better and vibrating more. So if this is a vibration or an extension of me that makes everybody a little bit happier or a little bit more joyful, I think then our job is done.
Yeah, it's been really fun since we've been able to unleash this at the beauty school. It's really been funny to like walk down the hallway and like smell into the evening or smell whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you have KWS, it's in my office. Cause like you said, it looks so pretty. So sometimes students will come in. And then Carson, who I work with, it's in her office as well. And everyone will be coming in and spraying it and mixing it. And, oh, I haven't tried this one or I haven't tried this one yet. And so it's really fun when you smell it, when you're somewhere and you're all of a sudden like, there it is.
What's amazing to me, and I think what I loved about how we moved it out of my market into yours, right, is this real? Like, does this really transfer? And I think you could have picked from New York City, New Jersey to Tennessee, right? And we're like, does this work? And we're finding out it does. So I give it out. I give the bottles out to people and they're like, where can I get more of that? Where can I do this? Or it's just getting fascinating to me. And I've been giving it to mostly when I travel, I've been giving it, or like the apartment in New York, there's all these guys that work there and I've been handing out the bottles. They actually know me now. They ask for more bottles.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Because it was exactly who I wanted to hit, right? I wanted that anybody from any station of life that is working and has a little bit of disposable income should be able, some people might have to save for it. Some people, it might just be a purchase, but the thing will be about the experience I'll get to do. Wherever you come from, it's still special. So I love that
I
you're talking
really
about the
love
students.
Yes, I really love that you can buy one or you can buy four, you can buy two, you can buy however many you want. I think that
Yeah.
that's the really cool part too, is if you're like, hey, I'm going to get this as a gift of the starter, and then that's something that you get. Everybody's always looking for different gifts for people. And I just think that that's such a smart way to kind of start a tradition for somebody, or being like, oh, you love that. Like, I want to get you this for Christmas, this for your birthday, this for whatever. And then you can kind of build on that too. I think it's awesome, but it is funny to see the way that the different levels are going. Like, you can see who is using which one more, and then you'll be like, oh, now it's summer. Like, it's time for, that's how I knew that I needed to like switch up. So I was sea to sky into the evening, like together. But
Okay.
definitely just into the evening on like date night, or like that, yeah, just little like classier vibe, like into the evening only. But it is crazy that even if Mark and I end up both wearing it, because that happens sometimes too, where I'll be like, oh, which one did you put on? It still smells different on each of us, because that's how perfume works. So we
Yes.
can still do that too. But it is funny to see the different levels and knowing like, oh, that's my time to switch it up, time to do a new mix, which is so
It,
fun. And we don't have to buy different fragrances all the time.
no, you can just keep on. Like, that's what I mean. It's like it's great. And here's the thing, my husband is like price per use guy, right? So he's like, he'll spend any amount of money you want, but he wants a price per use. And I'm like, you can't get a better value than this anywhere if you like it, right? I mean, you
Yes.
can mix it up. You can do whatever you want, but it really transfers. I have some people that use one of them as room sprays, and they're like, they love it. And I'm like, okay, whatever you. And I was like, oh. And so when I was literally just in Paris, and it was so funny. I was just in Paris about 2 weeks ago, doing some research, doing some stuff. But fragrance over in Paris is everywhere. So it's in hotel rooms. I literally had to tell them, please do not spray the fragrance in my hotel room. I brought mine because when they clean your room, they spray it. But
Hmm.
it's everywhere now. Stores are having it. I just had a
Oh
friend of
yeah.
mine. I just had a friend of mine who's opening a gastro doctor's office in Brooklyn, and he's like, "I need to pick a scent for my salon. I mean, for my practice." He's like, "Which one do you think I should have?" I was like, "Wait a minute, in a doctor's office?" And he's
Yeah.
serious. So Park
Hmm.
Slope, I don't know if everybody knows, but Park Slope is an upscale part of Brooklyn. So I guess a fragrance for the office would be a good
Like
thing. I don't know.
gastro.
Yeah, but it's hysterical. So I didn't know how important fragrance is, and I think it just evokes so many memories, so many things. I think it's more part of our life than we even realize.
Yeah. So if you had to identify with just one, which one are you? Are you everybody? Because that's like the original.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. It brings me so much joy and so much memories and so many things and trips back and forth to Paris and me falling in love with the city and being able to create something from nothing. Um, yeah, it's been around the longest. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's where I identify. And I am a little bit of all the other ones.
Hmm.
But that's where I live. I love Into the Evening. Like, that one is really special to me,
So good.
because it just has this thing. There was a very, very, very expensive brand that I used to spend a lot of money on, and I love the one I created just a bit more. So even that I was
Hmm.
able to do that was cool. And
Hmm.
Rise and Sea to Sky are just like, they feel like old friends.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned accessibility before. You all have kept this at a price point that is super affordable. So talk to me about how you made that decision to do that. Was that the plan the whole time, or did that kind of come about through your creative process?
I think it was more of the creative process. So what happened was that, yes, it was part of the creative process. So what happened is that I was trying to figure out, sometimes you mark things up just to mark them up, right? So that people
Yeah.
think they're worth a lot of money, or that they have a value that's not real.
Hmm.
So through the help of some marketing people who you know very well, and some other people that we know, we were trying to do this from a place of if we don't do a lot of big, huge advertising, if we don't have excessive packaging. That's why we decided on the little velvet bags. I didn't want saran wrap. I didn't want boxes. I hate when I get that stuff, right? So I hate all the
Me
paper
too.
inside. I don't like it. So that's why the little velvet bag came. I figured you could use the velvet bag for like when you travel with like your jewelry or like a watch or like whatever it is you want to put in there, you can use it for other things. So that's why it came in that little black velvet bag, was to make everything affordable. And when we ship it in bubble wrap, so it doesn't need the box. We know that well now. We've shipped you some. And so the affordability was really important because I wanted somebody to be able to buy it for their wife who has their first job. I wanted somebody who, a student, to be able to purchase it for his mom for Mother's Day. I wanted them to be able to buy this without it being too accessible, but still, I wanted it to be very special, but I also wanted people not to be like, oh, I can't afford that.
Right. Yeah.
So even if they have to save for it, it might be a little bit, but it's not out of reach. Being someone, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and with the influencers and stuff that we're working with now, or that you guys have put into place, it's really cool because it's more of like a personal approach to it also, and still getting like a discount on that. So there are discount codes and stuff that we'll be able to share. So it's like you made this affordable, and then are going even more and releasing this process to be able to really get it in the hands of everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. We want to get to influencers. So if everybody could do it by earning a little bit of money while they're selling it and sharing our story, that's the whole gig, is make a little money and share the experience, right? So we were talking one day, I love 50% of a lot, and I don't like 100% of nothing.
Exactly.
So I don't mind sharing ever. Like, I really like to share. When there's an abundance of something, sharing is really what's from my heart. So I love that. Now, even in my other businesses, I'm looking now, and I never did this, but I'm looking for more people who want to share. Right? Because we could have great people working with us, but if they don't want to share, they eventually just keep everything and your business stops with them. And that is
it's a really big red flag.
It's but when you write out your goals, right? So I wrote out my goals. I want to train as many people to earn a living. I never wrote and pass it on. So I had to do a little rewriting. I
love that. Wait, that's amazing.
Yeah. So what's happening now is, like, even in my, in my other businesses, I'm looking for those people because I created this.
I can't. It's amazing. And the way that you're like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like self-aware enough to see that and be like, oh wait, okay, hang on a second. I gotta redo that.
Yeah. And I was like,
how would you rate yourself on your own self-awareness? Like, do you think that you're like extremely self-aware, becoming more self-aware? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so I would say in the last 10 to 12 years, I've become so self-aware. Yeah. And just like really talking with myself and asking me questions about, like, what do I like? And I think as we age up, and that the time on earth is not finite, right? So what do I want to do today? And I did this crazy experiment. And I think we even talked about it we might have talked about it before, but what's interesting about it is when you are faced with like what's real, I ask myself a lot of questions now. And so that was like, so do you want to release a fragrance? Yeah, I do want to release a fragrance. I want to give it a try. I just want to keep on trying and creating. So I believe all we're supposed to do on earth is create, love, and learn. Those are the only three things I think are important. And if we can do those three, we're having a good run. It doesn't matter at what stage of life you're in. So this is one more creation, and how this might help somebody else down the line, I have no idea. But my intent is that this would be something that might grow and get more people jobs and let more people work and do more great things. And then, I don't know, maybe somebody can take it from me. I have no idea where I'm going with this. All I know is I keep on following my intuition. Like there's a reason why we met. There's a reason why it's down in Tennessee. If you would have told me that something I created was living in Tennessee and that was its second home, I'd be like, I don't know about that, but okay.
You're like, can I pick somewhere else? You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Listen, and that's the point. I have nothing to do with it. I met you in New York City where I was supposed to be.
Yeah. No, I know. It is weird. I'm having this, and you even saying it is really strange to me, but also, again, getting older and learning that there is just, you have to trust your gut, and there's like this intuition that you have, the self-awareness, but then confidence. Like I'm becoming more self-aware as I'm getting older. My confidence is growing as I'm getting older in this weird way of what you're talking about of like, I don't know where this is going. I was just having a conversation with somebody about this like last week. I was like, it's funny that now there are things happening in my life that like I started 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just slowly been rolling, and we're going. And all of a sudden it's like taking off, and it's like, okay, something's happening with it now. I feel like I wasn't supposed to just drop it. Like I was supposed to keep going, and I don't have an answer. I don't have like if somebody asked me, what are you doing with it? What is it? Like, I feel the exact same way as you. I don't know. All I know is that my intuition is telling me to keep going, and I'm going to listen to that because I'm becoming more confident in knowing that like, that's all we're supposed to be doing. Like if you can get like confident enough and know yourself enough, and like, gosh, like what I could have done at age 20 if I would have known this, but like just knowing that like you have to know who you are, then things will start happening for you that you're like, oh, I just know that this is what's meant to be. And you just like roll with it. Life becomes like so much easier, so much less scary when you can just like have that peace of mind.
Well, and I think what is true for me, like when I first started doing the fragrance, like if somebody didn't like it or they judged it or they did it, I like would shy away. Like I didn't have the confidence of something I created was good enough. Right. And so that is true. I'm like, I need to let everybody decide, not that person. It's not for me to decide anymore. And that's really weird. I have, there's a weird thing about me, but I love entertaining for other people. But like, if you have to come to an event for me, I have fear of people not coming to the party.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, for sure. No, I get that, definitely.
Oh, okay. But now that's all going away, right?
How do you handle when people like share their opinion about, I mean, I've literally only gotten positive feedback about it, but I also don't know if there's like people know there's a connection or whatever, but like I've only received positive feedback about it. How do you handle criticism of something that's like so personal to you?
All I say is fragrance is really personal. It's a
Yeah.
really personal thing. And I don't take it personally anymore. And what's really interesting, and for anybody that's creating anything in their life, sometimes it's the other person who hasn't created what they want in their life that really shines through. So you just take note of that and you're like, oh, okay. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it's really about their opinion, and their perspective is different. And it's okay. It's like, also too, I grew up with a mom who'd be like, you can't have everything. So who do you think you are creating a fragrance? Right? Because she wouldn't want me to fail or be disappointed. Now she's like, could you bring me some of that fragrance? Like my friends want it. I'm like, oh, now it's good. Okay, great. Thanks. But she's like, she just, she's a very special woman. She worries about everyone, but then, it's the best way I could describe it. She'd be like, really? You really think you're going to, how's that selling? And I'm like, oh. And then in the next minute, she goes, my friends want something. Can you bring me? I'm like, okay, thanks, Sandy.
I also think that people are really intimidated by when other people are doing things that like, they're like, oh, I would never. Like, they're like, why? Like they are so intimidated by that. And I think immediate reaction, whether it's like jealousy or insecurity, like immediate reaction of those feelings in particular are like never positive. Like it's never going to be like, I'm jealous of you, like go, and it like be a positive thing for you. I think it's just so easy for people to put that down. And I don't know if it's getting older or life experience or whatever, but I just think like, and you're 100% this way, like it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
it for you anymore. I'm doing it for me. Or honestly, maybe I don't even know why I'm doing it. I just know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So
Yes.
it doesn't matter. And getting over that just feels so good.
Taking nothing personal anymore is really, it's like rereading same books over. You get a different message every time. I really don't worry
Hmm.
about what anybody else is doing anymore. I don't even look
Hmm.
at the fragrance markets. I don't look what's current in fragrance. I do know that like the emerging market, there's a market for fragrance. I wouldn't have spent
Hmm.
the money to invest in it if I didn't think it was a moving market, right? So I'll research. So the only kind of news that I watch is financial news or business
Hmm.
news. I don't watch any other kind of news. I don't watch the weather. I do not watch anything related to anything else. So I only watch financial news because I love numbers and they're real. So that's where I wouldn't invest it if I didn't think fragrance was an emerging market that people are still going to spend a lot of more money in the future on fragrance. That's why I decided to get into it at this time, right? So I did my research financially. Fragrance is a growing segment of the world.
Hmm.
It is so important to everything we do in our lives. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. And I think
imagine,
even more,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
There you go. I mean, imagine doing something where it didn't smell good, right? Like
Right.
you would never go back there. I mean,
Right.
you could have the
Yeah.
most beautiful hotel room in the world. If you walked in and it smelled bad, you'd leave.
Hmm. Yeah,
It,
absolutely. I think too, and like making this more of the beauty industry and like connecting it to more, I think that if I can like have any prediction, is that this is really just going to it pairs so well with what you're doing. But I think there's even more of a space in the beauty industry. It's kind of one of those things like, remember when makeup was still like just makeup counters and like all of that stuff? And it wasn't just like so much of the beauty industry. It was almost like its own little segment, like a long time
yes.
ago when there was like Mary Kay and all that stuff. And now I think that fragrance, that's my prediction, is you're just on the forefront of something that's going to be becoming even more a part of the industry that you're in already too.
Well, what's so funny is that somebody had been bothering me about hair fragrances, right? So I take the fragrance, I spray it in my hands, I run it all through my hair, and it really is amazing. Like my scalp feel like I just run it through my hair, and I'm like, this smells good, right? So I didn't even
Hmm.
know that that was a thing. But like after you've been
Hmm.
out all night, you turn over your hair, you spray a little fragrance under your neck. Um, you're right. I think it is an emerging market, and I think people are going to get more personal, and people are looking for ways to individualize themselves so many other ways. So I think it's part of that too. It's like, what makes you stand out? What makes you a little different? And
Yeah.
it's nice. I mean, I never thought it'd be this big a part of my life. I never thought I'd be
Hmm.
boxing up colognes and be in shipping and development. Um, well, or my husband, I should say, but yeah.
Yes.
So, and this is really what's I think this comes at a perfect time when everybody in the world is trying to find their spot, right? So
Yeah.
I think if we can, if it can land anywhere and just make somebody feel a little bit more like they belong, or a little bit better, or a little kinder, and a little bit more of themselves, or a boost of confidence, that would be amazing result for me. It is truly where the kindness with soul comes from, and where I really that's where I wanted to live and breathe. That's how I see it. If you just let me do my intuition statement about what that is, that's really what I would. That's the most I could say about it.
Yeah. Well, I love it. So we can follow at KWS Fragrance
Yes.
on social media. And where
Yeah.
can we buy right now? Where can we get this? Where is it sold?
So you can go online. It's on the website, and you can we'll ship it right to your homes. I don't know if we even put a refund policy on there. We probably should at some point, because if you don't like it, we do want you to be able to ship it back, but we've never gotten that far.
Hmm.
So I think that
Everyone loves it.
yes. So yeah, we're getting excited. So it's in a few boutiques. It's in some of the salons. There are people that want to carry it. We've decided we want to go this route first. And then we might put it in some stores, schools, things like that. We're going to let it naturally develop. It's just emerging.
Yes, and we'll make sure that we'll put all the links below in the bio so everyone can just like click to buy. But thank you so much for talking with us today. And I'm just so
Thank you.
excited about where this is going. I think this is just the beginning of something really, really big, and just so happy that you have your hearts in it, and that I just know that it's going to be successful just because of that. So thank you so much for being here.
Excellent. Let's do this really soon. I really love this.
I know, me too. We'll talk soon.
All
All right,
right.
bye.
See you later.
Rise
Everybody.
from sea to sky.
And into the evening. Kindness with Soul, a freestyle fragrance by Kenneth. Order at kwsfragrance.com.